Of all the Weasley siblings, Charlie, likable though he is easily overlooked, mainly due to his absence in the films. Though Charlie is referenced in the movies, with Ron mentioning his work with dragons in Romania, Charlie's only literal appearance in the films consists of him waving from a newspaper photo. The films exclude several characters, plots, and elements, but Charlie is easily one what shouldn't have been. The Tom Bombadil of the Harry Potter franchise, Charlie's exclusion from the series makes him seem uninterested in his family's life. Since he wasn't introduced properly, viewers also miss out on his contributions during the Triwizard Tournament and the Battle of Hogwarts. Like Bill or Fred and George, Charlie is easy to love. Chill and not opposed to fun, he's decidedly not pompous, despite having a prefect badge to his name. Instead, Charlie is a down-to-earth person, following his passions and bending the rules when it's necessary. Unafraid of getting his hands dirty, he rounds the family out. If Fred and George are ambitious, Ron overshadowed, and Percy arrogant, Charlie is just Charlie. Practical, cheerful, and fun to hang out with. As with his siblings, Charlie also has his own history. Even book readers may be unaware of Charlie's more daring side, as he played a more prominent role within the tie-in video games. Propelled by his love of dragons, a passion which rivaled even Hagrid's, Charlie's life is busy and as adventurous as you'd expect from a Gryffindor. Before we dive into Charlie's story, I'm Riley and this is Otherworldly Fiction. On this channel, I rant about fantasy books, discuss characters and lore, share my bookish opinion, and share the occasional writing advice. If any of that sounds like your cup of butterbeer, hit that subscribe button. Posts are on Fridays. Born on December 12th in 1972, Charlie was the second oldest of the Weasley children, with Bill as his elder and Percy as his junior. A child during the First Wizarding War, he attended Hogwarts between the years of 1984 to 1991. During that time, he lost his uncles, Fabian and Gideon Pruitt, to the Death Eaters. Thankfully for Charlie, the war didn't mar his education. With the war ending in the year of 1981, on Halloween, Charlie was able to attend the school during a time of relative peace. As with the other Weasleys, he had to face the stigma of being a so-called blood traitor, though this hardly prevented him from living his life. Even as a boy, Charlie had an obsession with dragons to rival that of Hagrid. When attempts to transform the family pets into dragons were unsuccessful, given his lack of any training, he settled for attaching paper wings to scabbards and having the owl Errol don a dragon mask. Following this, he then stalked the animals and took notes on their behavior, pretending he was collecting data on dragons. While at school, Charlie, sorted into Gryffindor like the rest of his family, was in the same year as none other than Tonks. By the time he'd reached his second year, he impressed others by becoming a Seeker. Though not given the position as young as the record-breaking Harry, this was nevertheless an impressive feat, and he distinguished himself within the role, becoming one of the best Quidditch players the Gryffindor team ever had. However, talented as he was on a broomstick, Charlie had an even greater passion: dragons. As such, come his third year, he chose Care of Magical Creatures as a course, along with Muggle studies. Of course, Charlie wasn't above breaking rules. Before Fred and George would come to Hogwarts with their antics, Charlie was already sneaking into the Forbidden Forest with a goal only Hagrid could relate to. He wanted to find and catch a dragon within the dangerous woods. Whilst there, he befriended a centaur named Torvis, and Bill, anxious on his brother's behalf, followed him so that he might have support if anything happened. Unsurprisingly, the teachers remained ignorant of most of these excursions. During the years in which Hogwarts Mystery took place, Charlie helped to uncover cursed vaults within Hogwarts, which, to his delight, included dragon portraits, though in the case of the latter, the animal had escaped into the real world. By the time he'd reached his 5th year, Charlie was made a prefect, though as with Ron, he continued to bend certain rules. Still eager to possess a dragon of his own, Charlie bought what he assumed was a real dragon egg, only to discover it was that of an acromantula. Like Harry Potter after him, Charlie was appointed Quidditch captain in his 6th year. His adventures outside of classes or sports nearly made him consider dropping out, but thankfully he was persuaded by the protagonist of Hogwarts Mystery to see his schooling through. Charlie continued to play a prominent role when it came to discovering Hogwarts' several cursed vaults, learning who the antagonists were, a group simply called R, and how the nefarious band sought to reach the last vault before anyone else. In his final year at Hogwarts, Charlie was given the opportunity to take the apparition test, which he failed when he landed on a poor elderly Muggle woman who was attempting to complete her shopping. He managed to pass on a second try, but Fred and George, unbeknownst to Charlie, would continue to laugh over his first botched attempt. Charlie then closed out his last school year by winning a Quidditch trophy. His skills were such that many believed he could play Quidditch professionally, with his talent being fondly remembered by Oliver Wood in years to come. But Charlie had a greater passion. Even as an adult, he wanted to work with dragons. Journeying to Romania to study the creatures, dragons became his life. Making a career out of working with the animals, he was able to purchase a new wand. His old one, Ash with a unicorn hair core, was then passed to Ron, who would manage to snap it in half during an altercation with the Whomping Willow. Though his work would keep him away from his family for long stretches, he still managed visits, including joining his family on their trip to Egypt, and made a point of helping his siblings if they needed it. In the wake of Hagrid's adoption of Norbert, a Norwegian Ridgeback, he agreed to send a group of his co-workers to collect the beast from the castle come nightfall. The Golden Trio smuggled the illegal dragon to the castle's highest point, finding Charlie's friends affable and eager to answer their questions. From there, the dragon was taken to Romania to be raised among its own kind. Later, with the dragon maturing, Charlie would approach Hagrid to inform him that Norbert, rechristened Norberta, was actually female. As dragons were needed for the Triwizard Tournament's first task, Charlie played a pivotal role in not only transporting nesting female dragons, but in keeping them under control while they lived on the castle's grounds. Sleeping draughts had to be given to the dragons to move them, and stunning charms had to be used in tandem if they grew frenzied. Throughout the first task, Charlie's work enabled him to remain, allowing him to congratulate Harry when the Gryffindor champion secured his golden egg. In the days leading up to the task, though, Charlie avoided explaining the task to his mother, as she was furious that Harry was being permitted to participate. Charlie also wanted to join his family at the castle during the third task, but couldn't book the time off. With the start of the Second Wizarding War, Charlie played a great role. Encouraged to remain in Romania, it was his task to recruit foreign wizards to the Order's cause. He only left Romania briefly to attend Bill's wedding, before, it is assumed, returning to his work. Finally returning to fight in the Battle of Hogwarts, Charlie brought with him reinforcements. These fighters consisted of Hogsmeade's residents and store owners, relatives of those students who had elected to fight, and their friends. Along with Horace Slughorn, Charlie then led this fresh force, changing the trajectory of the battle in favor of the defenders. Only after the fight was over would Charlie learn he had lost his younger brother, Fred. Charlie remained passionate about his career in the years to come. Arguably, he was married to his work, foregoing marrying or starting a family. Though Rita Skeeter, in a 2014 article, offered her own speculations around Charlie's abstinence, he was never without family. From Ron and Ginny alone, he had plenty of nieces and nephews to care for. His career also led him to assist the Statute of Secrecy Task Force by teaching them how to spot the weakness in a dragon's skin, as well as how their nails might be used in potions. In his work with the group, he also invited them to attend the opening of a Chinese dragon sanctuary, where they sought to emulate the strength of the Chinese fireball. In conclusion, though he led an interesting life and played a major role in winning the day against Voldemort, Charlie was sadly excluded from the films. While he wasn't as involved in the main plot, his contributions to the hero's efforts were nevertheless great, and his absence remains one of the film franchise's flaws. As likable as Bill, and as prone to mischief on occasion as Fred and George, Charlie was a solid character. Good-natured and eager to be involved in the thick of the action, Charlie completes the Weasley clan. Though forgotten in the movies, readers were allowed to enjoy his character for who he was. Who was your favorite Weasley sibling? Do you wish Charlie had been in the films? Which Weasley would you like me to cover next? Sound off in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy reading!